gone.
So Derrick finishes Travis on the ground. Last couple of punches were with Travis being unconscious, to my eye. Mario Yamasaki got some criticism for a late stoppage there. You think it was late?
I always err on the side of making it late than making it, early. Early stoppages. I mean, come on, guys. We're professional fighters. We knew we didn't sign up to play tennis. I had an idea that the other guy was going to try to punch me in the face. We trained for this. And look, I mean, we can get into arguments about concussions and the damage that the guy receives a knockout. It happens all the time in the NFL still, and they realize that, contact sports, you're not going to get rid of concussions. But we don't have the secondary concussion. We don't have a standing 8 count. So that way, once a guy gets knocked out, and he has a concussion, the fight's over with. Mm-hmm. So if it goes a little bit long, so it goes a little bit long. That is much better to me as far as it's a definitive answer. There's no questions whether Derrick won it. You didn't start it over, stop it too soon, and then you're like, well, what if Travis would have fought back? It hurts the guy who wins because now it's like, well, did you really win or did they stop it too soon? Mm-hmm. It hurts the guy that lost because now you just gave him a loss that he didn't probably, maybe he could have fought back, and you just took away 12 weeks of ambition on a short-term goal of his training in his life dedicated towards trying to accomplish something. And for his safety, which, dude, come on, we're professional fighters. Safety's not on the high rung of our priorities. Mm-hmm. You guys, worry about in other areas, but let the fight go the distance. So, hey, guy takes another shot. Have you ever really, you're going to be called one hell of a daisy if you do. Most guys are never going to complain that a fight went too long.
Yeah.
Guys will complain. I'd rather take, and I'll say this now, I'll go on record. I would rather every referee I ever work with from now on lets me take a shot extra or two than maybe stops it too soon.
Okay. So the stoppage comes. Let's talk about what Derrick Lewis said after the fight, because leading up to the fight, he introduced into his interviews the fact that I guess a year and a half, has it been a year and a half ago, 2 years now? Year and a half ago? Yeah. It was a year ago in July. That's, I believe, what it was. Or no, it was July. It was just this past July because it was UFC 200 Travis was supposed to be on. And I think he got, am I right about that? Or was it the year before?
No, I thought it was, wasn't it during Ronda's fight with Holly that it came out about a month before?
That fight was in Australia in November. Maybe you're right. Yeah, you're right. It was definitely 2015. Okay. So we're talking about the domestic abuse allegations, right, against Travis Browne by his former girlfriend. So he was investigated for that. No charges were filed, and he was cleared by the UFC. He's been fighting for a while since then, but Derrick Lewis brought that up. And
before we go on, I wish there could be something more done with that, because if someone makes accusations, and as serious as right now we handle domestic violence in this country.
Unless you're in the NFL, but go ahead.
Well, no, the NFL, hey, do you know that they just not uninvited, but there was a couple players that are not invited to go to the combine because they have been arrested and indicted on charges of abuse.
I think the Ray Rice thing kind of sobered them up.
Right. Well, so they are going in the right direction. Yeah. Now, it does leave it up to the individual teams that they can still extend a contract out to these guys, but it's showing that the NFL is taking the temperature of what the world is right now with the modern climate and going the direction of saying, hey, if you have any kind of allegation, you have this kind of a arrest record with any kind of domestic violence, you can't come to the combine. So there's 3 top level players. I don't remember the details of it. I just caught it briefly in the news that are not invited now to go to the combine.
Okay. And I interrupted you. I'm sorry, I cut you off there, but you were saying that you wish that would be looked into it more.
You do make an allegation.
What year was it, Jennifer? July 2015. There you go. So
if you do make an allegation, and as serious as it is, because, for example, here with Travis Browne, allegations were made, an investigation went forth, and it was found to be unfounded. So he was innocent, right? There is no what's the word I'm looking for? A punishment. There's no fallout. There's no repercussions for the person making the accusations. And I don't like that.
Well, hold on. Unless There is, though, you can sue them in civil court. And I think that's...
I think it should be criminal. Because the allegations you laid upon me were criminal.
Well,
so now wait a minute. So I get you are going to affect my freedom, and now I can affect your pocketbook. That's not fair.
Well, but it's there's a couple of things. One, it's a way to clear your name, but two, it could be criminal if it's found to be to the level of filing an out and out false accusation. So let's walk through it. Okay, so let me.
If we had an attorney here, we could probably ask this.
That's right. Let me tell you what I would do if I were.
On? What's the question about?
Okay.
So if a woman makes a false accusation, can I go back and file legal criminal charges on a woman for making false accusations on me? Say a girl accuses me of rape.
Right.
We go back and find out, and it's proven that she made it up because she was mad at me. And we've seen this case occur in the news before. It's not unheard of. Now, can I go back and now sue the young lady for accusing me of a heinous crime and ruining my reputation? But not just civilly. Can I now criminally, can I give her jail time for what she was about to do to me?
Okay, so if you make a false statement in court under oath.
Go ahead.
Under oath, if you make a false statement in court under oath, then there can be criminal charges brought against you.
But if it doesn't even go to court, though, it doesn't just go to, what's the first hearing that you go to?
A preliminary hearing. Or an arraignment.
An arraignment.
Yeah.
So an arraignment, does that count as under oath?
Absolutely. And whatever statement you make, even if it's made in a police report and you go, and if it gets into a courtroom, so then that statement is made under oath.
What kind of penalty file?
In that case, it would depend if the prosecution wanted to pursue it, but I'm not sure that there would be jail time for that.
Still no jail time.
I don't believe there'd be jail time, but they could bring a civil claim for slander or libel, and then that would affect his pocketbook. But you're talking about jail time.
I think jail time, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. If I was about to go do 10 years, I think for making an accusation that could carry a penalty of that type of time, then I think that it should kind of fold that direction also. If someone makes a false accusation and we find out that they did it out of spite, out of anger, and again, I'm not saying this is commonplace. I realize it's hopefully a very rare occurrence. I'm hoping, but if it were to occur, I think that it's only fair because right now, speaking specifically, Travis now is being rumored to be somebody who beats his girl, and they found out that it was unfounded. And now he has that hovering over the top of him.
Well, and so, by the way, we have to explain what just happened here formatically.
Yes.
The one feature of the phone booth fighting bunker that we did not explain earlier is that it comes with a genie's lamp. And so what you heard Frank say there was, if we only had an attorney, I wish we had an attorney here. And because you can't see what happened, he reached over and rubbed it, and an attorney appeared.
Not the attorney.
That's what happened. Yeah. So that's how we got the legal perspective there. That's really going to come in handy down the line.
Yes, it is.
It really is a cool feature. So, but what I was going to say is that if I were Travis, because you're on something here. I mean, I'll tell you how I would handle it if I were in Travis's position.
Well, but the Brian Banks story, right? We don't have to go on too much detail. Banks, he was a young guy out of Southern California. He was a junior in high school.
Oh, yes.
He's being recruited to USC.
Is this a statutory rape thing, right?
I don't know if it was statutory, but he was out at a school function.
Yeah.
A young lady there accused him of rape, and they were able to, he did 6 years in jail. The young lady's family was able to sue the district for like $1.5 million. So this young kid who had a potential to go to USC or, had his life ahead of him, scholarship, college, who knows what he could have maybe made of himself at that point. He ends up in the penal system. So he goes to jail and after he got out of jail, she tried to reach out to him on Facebook and, to want to apologize basically for what she did.
You know what I do then? Block.
That's
a definite block.
So he let his attorney know.
I think you.
And so they set up his office with microphones. She showed up, and they caught her explaining that her family told her to do it to get money, that they ruined this kid's life. Oh. And as far as I know, they're trying to go back after her and sue her civilly to get the money back, but there is no money. Yeah. But I think.
I have more information. Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, but I mean, in my opinion, I think the girl needs to do. If he did 6 years, 6 months, 2 days, she needs to spend 6 months. 6 years, 6 months, 2 days in jail, and whoever else corroborated with her to put her up to that. If her mom put her up to that, then she does 6 years. I mean, I think that's the only way to bring any kind of that's justice to me.
So what I would have done if I were Travis, and we'll get our attorney's opinion here, is in terms of the difference between civil and criminal. So let's say I'm Travis, okay, and I'm completely innocent of this, and you accuse me of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sue you civilly, not because I'm trying to make money off of it, but because I'm making my point. I want to clear my name. Now, I know I can do that. I know there's precedent for that. Now, in terms of if you're flat out fabricating something out of thin air, I mean, you rammed your face into the door and we were never even in each other's physical presence when you said we were and all that kind of stuff, and that elevates itself to the level of like filing a false police report or something like that. Now, that's criminal, and as she was just saying, whether or not that really involves jail time remains to be seen, but there would be some sort of criminal repercussion there. I think where it gets dicey, and I don't know what the particular situation was with Travis, but where it could get dicey is where, no, I didn't assault you, but we did get in an argument, and I called you a crazy bitch, and, some things were said and all that.
I think we draw a line when we find out that there's proof that you really tried to make some shit up. I mean...
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you remember the old OJ explanation of on the New Year's Eve where Nicole Brown calls 911 and he says, "Well, I wasn't beating her, but we got in a wrestling match," or so he phrased it some kind of way like that. I could see it again. I'm not saying this because I don't know what Travis's situation was. I'm just saying I could see if a guy was in that kind of situation, maybe they don't want to go to court because they don't want to get into a whole lot of, okay, well, that didn't happen, but this happened. But yeah, that other thing happened. But now you're misunderstanding the way this happened, and then the whole thing gets very murky, and maybe that's why they don't do it.
If we're really trying to make the world equal, between the sexes, I still find that we're not there. And the reason, another way I can point this out that I know that we don't think the same is